Good evening and welcome to the Wrestling Forum, the show that kind of comes and goes, doesn't it? All depends on what we get to talk about. And with us are, with me, I should say. With us, all right? I'm getting a little worried, Jeff. With me are the Masters of Mayhem, Jeff Gaye. Jeff, great to have you back.
Nice to be back, Vic, thanks.
And Middleboro's favorite, Scotty. Scott April's back.
Glad to be back, Vic.
All right, and I'm Vic Vicious, and with us is a special guest, IWF Referee Richard Lannon. It's great to have you here, Rich.
It's great to be here.
Okay. Richard has consented to sit in with us and share some information. You know, he was at Mega Bash. He refereed a couple of the matches. And before we go any further, Rich, your overall thoughts of that event?
Oh, it was a great show. I love being there. I saw the video. It's a really great video, and it was a great show. The fans were great too.
Yeah, well, we were glad to have you.
I was a Middleboro sports fan compared to some of the other towns that you guys go to.
But we had the first Mega Bash 91, the Middleboro Massacre back in March of 91, and great show. And we had 92 this year. And we enjoy a Kowalski show, don't we, guys?
Oh, they're great. I think the fans really, especially some of your friends in the front row there, Scott, get a little rabid on us, I think.
Some of the ladies get a little wild.
But everybody has such a good time, you know? Yeah. I mean, and, you know, it's close to home, and it doesn't take long to drive back home. The traffic's not bad, and everybody has a great time. No one gets cheated at all.
I feel bad for Vito Carlucci getting picked on every week, though.
You probably have to have his suit cleaned after that week, I think, Scott.
Yeah, if not, then sometime soon, I'm sure. Richard, why don't you tell us how'd you get started as a referee?
Okay, I was following Killer Kowalski's Wrestling Federation from town to town just to watch because I was a big fan. And one day I found out where his wrestling school is, so I went and applied to become a referee. And I did my training there, and I graduated from his school. And now I'm refereeing all the shows. And the next one's going to be June 20th in Hudson, Mass. We're doing 2 shows, one at 1:30 and one at 7:30.
You were telling me off air that possibly Jim the Anvil Neidhart is going to be on that show.
Yes, I believe Jim the Anvil Neidhart versus the Honky Tonk Man.
That'll be quite a match right there.
Yeah, it would be a great match.
Yeah, of course, they got a rivalry that goes back to their WWF days.
That's right, yeah.
Maybe a lot of people don't know where the school is. Where is Walter's school?
In Malden, Mass, on 170 Pleasant Street.
All right. And how long does it take you to learn basically all the tricks of the trade, so to speak?
Well, for a wrestler, it takes years, but for a referee, it takes maybe 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. And how many shows have you done since you've been with Walter?
About 20 shows.
Wow. Yeah, because we saw you here in Middleboro, and I saw you over now, Hanover was your first show.
Right, that was my very first show, and I didn't think I was that great. I let everybody get away with everything.
That was over at Hanover Havoc. You and I were in attendance.
That was the show we went to?
That's right.
Wow.
I think it was Nikolai.
And you've done 20 since then, roughly?
Yeah, we do it like sometimes 3 times a weekend, and then usually once a week. Then I do training too at the school. I be refereeing while other wrestlers are wrestling, trying to learn how to wrestle.
Now, what is? Throw us some names. Who are some matchups that you've refereed that you can remember off the top of your head?
Okay, I did Heidi Lee Morgan against Brittany Brown. I did Brittany Brown versus Babyface Nelly for the championship. The picture will be showing up in a national wrestling magazine. I've done Mad Dog Richard against a guy that's 6'10", 505 pounds, the Bulldozer. Chris Duffy against Perry Saturn. And there's a lot of other guys. I just can't think of their names right now.
Right. So basically, you've been a referee for some of the top talent. You mentioned Heidi Lee Morgan. She's somebody that we haven't mentioned a lot on this program, but quite a wrestler and quite a show. You were telling me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Why don't you share with the fans what she did?
Okay. When she entered the ring, she's like incredible. She's like the Killer Kowalski of women wrestlers, and she was chewing gum during the match. So I told her to stop the match. Give me your gum, and she refused. Finally, I put my hand out. I said, "Give me the gum." So she's about to put it right in my hand, and she shoved it on my forehead. I was really mad, but I didn't disqualify her for that. for touching the ref.
What's the sort of philosophy that they teach you as far as you're saying in your first match you just sort of let people get away with a lot? What's the philosophy in general about wrestling referees? I mean, how much are you supposed to put up with before you ring the bell on them?
Well,
you pretty much let them wrestle, or?
Well, some matches I do, but if some matches, like if they bring a chair or a bat in, I'll disqualify them right away. But if it's something little, like maybe bring a rope to choke with someone, I'll let it go.
I think most wrestling fans, I'm like a big hockey fan, and I know I hate it when the referees ruin it by calling a lot of penalties. I think most wrestling fans like to see the guys wrestle, and I think the less that the referee is noticed, the better job he's doing, because he's letting them fight it out on their own.
Right. Now that's another thing I noticed in the big leagues like WWF is the referees kind of take a bad rap sometimes. I don't know. What do you, to be a referee, it's a difficult job.
Oh yeah, definitely it is.
What do you feel? Do you think the fans are kind of being unfair? I mean, because it is a tough job you guys got up there. So do you think the fans are being unfair in kind of putting down the ref?
Well, sometimes ref is a hard job.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It all depends on what federation you're with. If you're with the WCW, they don't let anything get away, which I like them a lot. But WWF, some reason, they just let everything go away.
We've noticed, right?
Yeah. Well, half the time they don't even need a referee because they're not calling any of the rules anyway. So.
Now, here's a question. Recently, I was going back watching some old LPWA tapes, and Bonnie Blackstone asked the referees there what their opinions were on managers. What's your opinion on managers?
Well, I really don't like managers because they interfere too much. And when your back's not when you get your back to them, they interfere all the time when you can't catch it. So I don't like managers at the ring at all.
I know a lot of times too. I haven't seen too much in the last 4 or 5 years, but before that, like in tag team matches, they'd have 2 referees. Are you comfortable with something like that, or is it kind of hard for the 2 guys, one to sort of take control over the other?
Well, for like tag teams, I'd rather have 2 referees, but then we get paid half. We don't make as much money, but.
Now we found out why there's only one.
I've done lots of tag team matches. Yeah. They're really hard to do because they interfere every time.
Right.
There's a lot of interference.
Yeah, and you say managers. Let's move specifically. Vito. Vito comes to mind. He's.
Well, I don't want to talk about Vito.
No.
That guy will interfere. He even tried paying me off before matches.
How about the Bug? Your feelings on the Bug?
Well, I don't really like the Bug because I'll be running around trying to do my match,
this guy.
And I'll feel something on my leg. I'll look down. I'll be the Bug with his fly swatter.
So, how about that other, infamous manager, Vic Vicious?
Well, you shouldn't ask me right now. Maybe after the show when.
I was good before they pulled me out.
Oh yeah, you were good.
We'll have to do that off camera, I guess, when somebody isn't around.
Yeah.
Just save an extra fly swatter.
Right. Well, everybody knows about the long-standing feud between the Bug and I, but let's digress.
That must be hard too, though. Really, you bring up a good point, Vic. That must be hard when there are 2 managers. I mean, you have to keep your eyes not only on what's going on in the ring, but you have to keep your eyes on both of the other managers and what they might be trying to do to each other.
Have you ever done a match where there were 2 managers involved?
Yes, but one was a good guy and one was a bad guy, and they usually spent the night just chasing each other around the ring.
Yeah, because he brought that up because my premiere appearance, it just so happened was a tag team match. The Bug was in one corner and I was in the other, and
that's a lot of people.
Yeah, that referee. I don't remember who that referee was. It wasn't Paul Richards, but whoever that referee, he didn't have a clue anyway. So it was. But it must be tough to have. I mean, you almost literally have to have eyes in the back of your head.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Guys, I imagine have a hard time trying to put aside feelings that you have for some of these managers like the Bug and try to call their matches fairly, even though you wouldn't like to.
Well, I usually call a match fairly, even if I don't like the manager. When I'm in the ring, I'm totally professional, and I have no feelings between any wrestler, and I just call the match fairly.
That's what makes a good referee too, though.
That's really all you can ask from a referee, I feel.
Do you have a lot of wrestlers who try and intimidate you, like maybe before the match or like in the first 4 or 5 minutes?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's one guy called Bulldozer that I mentioned before. He spends his whole time during the match yelling at me and pushing me, and sometimes even hitting me and body slamming me.
Kind of like Hulk Hogan's old days when he used to body slam refs. What was something else that I wanted to ask about? Help me out here, guys. I just drew a blank. You were worried about drawing blanks. I just go on.
That must be that I would think would be difficult. I mean, most of the referees. I mean, Kowalski wasn't maybe not the purest of examples of referees, but most referees are much smaller than the wrestlers are.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And
definitely.
that must be difficult because I mean, you do have a guy who's 6'10" or whatever come in there and starts pushing around a little bit. I mean, that's going to be hard to control something like that.
Oh, it definitely is.
And just size-wise alone. I mean, even if he doesn't start leaning on you, verbally. I mean, you don't want to call the guy's match the wrong way. He might meet you in the back alley or something later on.
Well, Richard, who is the hardest guy you've ever had to handle? Who's been the toughest case in the ring?
Okay, I have to say the Bulldozer again, because even before the match starts, if you ever go to one of our matches and see him walk in the ring, the first thing he does is go after me and tells me that I have to call it his way all the time. And if my 3 counts is too slow, he'll be telling me right away. But he's the toughest.
Well, that's going to be aggravating too when as I see this a lot, they're yelling in your face, you're counting too slow, you're counting too fast, or especially after a match when you've already, because they always say the referee has the last word, he's got the last call, and after you've already counted a guy out, that must be difficult to deal with too. Let's say, for example, Perry Saturn and Chris Duffy, let's say Perry pins Chris, and let's say Chris starts protesting the decision.
Right.
That's going to be tough for you too.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. But I get the final decision.
Right.
And usually in the locker room, I stay in my own room, so I don't have to see them.
Smart move.
But of course, it wouldn't really work to their advantage either if you gave them a hard time. If they gave you a hard time, because I mean, theoretically, you could in the next match remember that. I mean, I imagine to some point they do want to stay on your good side. I mean, you don't want to get the teacher mad at you, and you don't want to get the referee mad at you in a match.
There was one match where this guy was giving me a real hard time through the whole show. So there was one guy outside the ropes, and he come up to attack him. Well, the guy did a sunset flip over the ropes and over him, and he tried to hang on to the ropes. And since he was interfering through the whole match, I went over and kicked his hand off.
Do you find it quite often that wrestlers or managers try to buy you before the match?
Sometimes.
The Bug, maybe?
Well,
these others?
Well, there was one where Babyface Nelly and Brittany Brown in Hanover went for the title, and she tried to pay me $5,000 so she'd win, but I wouldn't take it.
That's a sign of a good referee.
It certainly is, yeah. Then that's quite a tempting offer, too. $5,000 is a lot of money.
You brought some photographs with you, Richard. Some of you and the one and only Killer.
Here's one of Killer Kowalski, ring announcer Mel Simons, and me posing for this picture.
There you go. Who took that picture, Rich? Do you remember?
Stephen Frank. You may see him in the Middleboro show with the camera going around the ring.
Oh, yeah. It's a classic.
That's a great shot, huh?
Oh, it definitely is.
And you brought one of your class, your graduating class.
Okay. And this graduating class has some of the wrestlers you saw at Middleboro.
Yeah, we see Perry Saturn in the photo. Sean Monahan's in the back there. He's standing right next to the Killer, I believe.
Right. And on the outside of the Killer is the Bulldozer.
Oh, the big guy, yeah.
Right.
There he
is. And right in front of the Bulldozer was Mr. Attitude and
Eric Hutchings.
Right.
Right.
Which now we're not friends anymore. They parted ways, and now they're feuding with each other.
That's right. Well, they took their feud here to Middleboro.
Right.
And we got to see that. Well, you also Rich brought a tape of just an example of how much of a bully the Bulldozer can be.
Right. After this match, Bulldozer was suspended. That's why you didn't see him in Middleboro. And he also broke Mel Simon's ribs, 2 of his ribs. So that's why he did not be the ring announcer at the Middleboro show.
Wow. So it just it goes to show you, you know, folks, say what you want about professional wrestling, but the wrestlers, the managers, the ring announcers, and even the refs, you guys we're all at risk. You know, we can all get hurt. So right now we're going to take it to that tape, and then we'll be back with more. So let's actually we're going to comment through it. Rich can take us through. We can jog his memory. We can go back and take a look. So why don't we go to that right now?
Well, I don't want to see this.
Can I see that class picture?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Bulldozer. It looks like he's in there with the Mad Dog. They Rich. Now this was taped in Waltham.
Right, in March of this year.
Ah.
Okay, right now they're just, I believe this is the beginning of the show because they're doing just scientific stuff.
Yeah.
Go behinds.
Boy, this is two big guys, huh, Vic?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. There's almost 900 pounds right there.
Wow. Yeah.
And not even including me.
Yeah, you're talking two big boys there.
Okay. Bulldozer's yelling at the crowd because they're calling him Fatso.
But he doesn't like that.
Okay, here's Mad Dog trying to tackle him, but there's no way.
He kind of makes the Mad Dog look small.
How can you knock down someone 150 pounds more than you?
That's right. And you know, this is amazing because Mad Dog is not a small guy.
He's not a small guy at all. Anybody who saw him in Middleboro, Vic, they know.
Right, but standing next to the Bulldozer, he looks small. And there you are admonishing him, Rich.
Right.
What kind of thing would you be saying to him at that point?
Oh, I'm just yelling and screaming stuff. But
What is a Bulldozer? About 6'5"?
6'10",
6'10". Wow.
and he's 505 pounds.
Wow.
500. Oh, I can't even imagine that. Wow.
Wouldn't want to buy him breakfast. This guy.
505?
No.
Sounds like he could be the next Andre.
Oh, definitely.
Wow.
He seems
He
pretty.
is huge.
Ooh. He seems pretty mobile too. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. He's fast, too. He can even do a drop kick.
That's,
Wow.
that's
But you won't see it in
incredible.
this match, though.
Some of those big guys, even a drop kick would be risky for him to try to do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
You know, especially.
Especially when you miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like, who was it? Bam Bam Bigelow. Used to do
What is it?
Okay.
He used to do cartwheels, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was about, what, 390?
Right.
Yeah.
He was a huge guy, too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite matches I saw in Providence, the King of the Ring Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
And the first match was One Man Gang versus King Kong Bundy.
Wow.
That was a good match.
Got a couple of Mack trucks colliding there.
Oh, definitely.
He really plays to the crowd, doesn't
Yeah, I was
he?
gonna say the fans look happy, just like they were here, huh, Vic?
Yeah.
Oh, you never hear boring at any one of
No.
our shows.
No.
And the fans really get into it.
Oh, yeah.
You hear that at just about every WWF show at some point or other.
Yeah, and sometimes they let it go through on the TV too. What are they saying? Oh, I don't know what they're saying, Lord Alfred.
Boring. Yeah, you never hear that here, I tell you.
There's Bulldozer using his big head to... What he was trying to do is try to break Mad Dog's ribs, so then when he goes to pin him, he won't be able to kick out.
Right.
That's what he was basically working on.
But these guys take a lot of injuries, don't they?
Wow.
Oh, there's Mad Dog trying to give drop kicks to knock him down. I believe
Even
he did
Mad
on the third one.
Dog to do a drop kick, that's, it's quite a maneuver for somebody his size.
What a
Oh,
feat,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that's like the first time I saw the Bulldozer ever go down.
I can see why there would be a little bit of fear stepping in to be a referee in a match like this.
Oh, definitely.
I think this is the first time I've ever seen Mad Dog wrestle someone bigger than him.
Well, I had no idea how the Bulldozer was. I never met him before. I wish I never did. Because you see at the end what happens, and I had to go to the hospital, and Mel went because of the broken ribs.
Yeah.
Even Mad Dog, I believe, went to a hospital.
Yeah, well,
Hey, that's quite a move right there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's nimble for a guy who's 500 pounds.
yeah, wow. Yeah, when Mad Dog came to Middleboro, he said he was still smarting from this. Like, I can see why.
Had to be what, at least 6 weeks later too. Huh?
Yeah.
I often wonder where somebody like Killer Kowalski or anybody would just... Where do you find people that are 6'10"? You know, it's not every day you see them walking around. It's right.
The thing too with both of these guys is they're not just big guys, though. I mean, they have some real athletic ability.
Oh yeah.
Right there, Mad Dog knows he can't beat the Bulldozer right now, so he's going to try to use his bone. But I keep telling him he's going to be disqualified right away if he does.
Does he listen to you and put it away?
Yep. Well, he doesn't want to lose his paycheck.
Yeah. He's a smart guy too. He doesn't want to go home with a short end of the paycheck by any means.
Especially being the champion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, right there, I'm telling Bulldozer was going to go grab the bone too. So I warned both the guys.
One swallow.
The crowd playing into this match too, just like you did in Middleboro.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I've said on the show many times that when you folks come in, it's nice because it used to be the way like the CBA was when they had the team in Brockton. At halftime, you could go down and you could talk to the players and say to the coach, I didn't like that play in the first quarter, and you could really get to know everybody. And in the WWF, it's like this little cage around them all, and there's no interaction. And I mean, look at all the interaction we had in Middleboro. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Okay, something's coming up here. After he's getting hit, he doesn't know. He thinks I'm Mad Dog, and he takes a swing at me. But I duck just in time.
Good thing.
Now, in an instance like that, you wouldn't disqualify him, right? I mean, because he really wasn't intentionally going after you.
Well, if he did touch me, it would be automatic disqualification.
Even if it wasn't intentional.
Right.
And beside these two, you actually look like a midget. You're an average-sized person.
Oh, definitely. But right now he's trying to screw up Bulldozer's neck.
This must be a tough spot to tell if they're slipping into chokes or not.
Oh, especially these big guys. Like Bulldozer, you can't get around him to see it. He's so big.
Plus his arm is 28 inches around.
And huge shoulders. And
yeah. Wow.
Right, and a lot of the time, I know the wrestlers try to keep you out of the best views from what's actually happening. They'll turn around.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They'll always try to keep you behind them.
Like in the Middleboro, when Honky Tonk Man, he's using the closed fist, but he showed Killer Kowalski the open hand and turned real fast and whacked it. That's what these guys do too.
But you guys are wise to those things too. I mean, it's not like they're newly invented. You know what they're doing, right?
Well, sometimes.
You know what they're doing, but you have to call on what you see.
Yeah.
So.
But when you're caught up in the heat of the actions, it's easy to miss.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of time I'm being distracted by the manager, and all the fans would be yelling. But I can't. There's so many people yelling that I can't make out what they're saying. So I don't know to turn around.
Plus, you can't really trust the fans either. I mean, because they have certain favorites, right? I mean, automatically.
Yeah, if Mad Dog cheat, they wouldn't be yelling.
You could trust them more than some of the managers, though. But like you said, you got to keep your eye on your Vito Carlucci's and your the Bug and people like that.
People like that.
Yeah.
Not honest. Not honest managers.
But,
not honest managers.
Right.
Who are only there for the physical.
Actually, any manager.
Almost.
You mentioned the crowd earlier yelling at you one way or another. Do you really even notice the crowd after the match starts? Not
really. When the match starts, it's just me and two guys. Unless the manager really bugs me a lot, like the Bug. But no, it's like I didn't even notice the cameraman that was walking around the ring during Middleboro.
Really?
In fact, they told me after the show there was a cameraman walking around. I said, what? Because I did not notice him at all. I only noticed what's going on in the ring.
That's good. It's a good sign of concentration.
Yeah, you really have to concentrate, yeah.
Okay, I believe right here it's going to be a double clothesline. And that was the signal for it.
Ooh.
Oh, that was a vicious one. I didn't think anybody was going to get up from that.
Kind of reminiscent of Hogan and the Warrior at the Royal Rumble a few years ago. Laying each other out to dry.
I think they just made it the 10 count. One of them did.
Awful close. Now, what do they have to stop the count? Do they have to just show sign of life, or do they actually have to be on their knees?
Stand up on 2 feet. That'll stop the count right away. There's
Yeah.
Mad Dog outside the ring.
That's a good question, Scott. I've always wondered about that myself.
And the same thing when a wrestler's out of the ring and getting counted out. Does he just have to be under the apron, or do you?
Yeah, he has to be inside, and
inside the rope area.
Right. Even if when I count 10 and 1 foot still on the other side of the ropes, he's out of the ring.
Okay.
He's got to be totally 100% in the ring. Now there's Bulldozer threatening me.
It's good to actually know the actual guidelines that a referee calls upon. I knew it was a count out, but I wasn't sure exactly which point he'd be actually considered in.
Yeah.
Do you find that the rules from the IWF vary from some other promotions, or are they pretty much standard?
It's usually the same. Now watch Bulldozer go out.
Whoa.
He went out hard. I didn't think. See, when I looked over, I swore he wasn't going to get up. I thought he was knocked out. And you may notice there's Tony Roy trying to keep the kids off of him.
Yeah, there he is.
He could munch up a couple of those kids and then hop right back in the ring.
Oh yeah.
Good thing Tony was out there.
And there's the photographer I was talking about, Stephen Frank.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
taking pictures right now.
Yeah.
He's a real good photographer.
Looks like he's outside. Is he outside again?
Yes. Mad Dog Rashad wouldn't let him back in, so I'm chewing out Mad Dog Rashad right now.
Now, what is the rule? Is he supposed to go to a neutral corner?
Yes, the other side of the ring.
You almost never see them do that, though.
They want to get right at the wrestlers right away.
I want to take advantage while the guy's a little bit hurt, I assume, a little bit stunned.
Yeah.
Right now I'm checking to see if he had the bone, which now he's trying to get.
Yeah, he's got it.
This guy is so strong that when he whips the bone down on the mat, it bounced.
Wow.
Look how big that bone is, and it's really heavy too. I believe
Yeah, it fits in his hand almost.
I believe it's a cow bone.
Wow.
Looks like a dinosaur leg.
See, he threw it down so hard
Jeez,
it
look at that.
bounced.
Just like a basketball.
And look, it's extremely heavy too. Now I could have disqualified him for that, but I wanted to let this match go because it was a title match.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. I like to see the referee put up with a little bit and let the match go on and not call it because of some little technicalities
Small
we get away
infraction
with.
or
Yeah.
something.
Especially a match of this importance, being the title match. Now the Mad Dog's on the outside.
Well, I got the bone right now because the Bulldozer brought it back in.
Yeah.
Do you guys have an over-the-rope disqualification?
No, we don't.
That's good because that's one thing that I hold against a few federations. I don't agree with that at all.
Right.
What are your feelings on that?
Well, over the top is there should not be disqualification. AWA in the 80s and 70s, they used to have a disqualification if you jumped off the top rope.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't agree with rules like that at all.
No, because
I believe
professional wrestling is
this is the
going
ending
off
right
top
here.
ropes and
Okay, rolls him up for a 3 count.
Strength.
This is the part I don't want to see because now I'm going to have to relive the pain. But Bulldozer's got the
he is a
bone,
big guy.
and he hit him with the bone.
But this is just still your responsibility, too, right? I mean, to stop this type of action, even though the match is over.
That's what I'm trying to do. Now, see what happens when I grab the bone. Look what Bulldozer does to me.
Wow.
That's a big man.
There's no stopping this guy.
And I see Mel's in the ring now.
Yeah, Mel's going to try to stop him now.
And you and Mel both were put into the hospital after this.
Oh, yes.
That's one thing I noticed is that Mel doesn't like to see things like this go down either. If he can get involved, he will. And
Well, I know of at least a few times that I've seen him get beat on.
Well, remember at Mega Bash 91?
Last year in Middleboro, he wound up, I believe, going to the emergency room.
Yeah, Jason the Horrible gave him quite a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to take over for a few minutes. holding the belt that's not his.
As you notice, no other wrestlers jumped in the ring because they're all afraid of him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who's gonna go in there and mess with him?
I wouldn't.
Now, who actually would call for assistance now? As I mentioned before, even after the match is over, you're still responsible, for the men in the ring.
Right.
Would it be your position to call for help from the back, or just whoever happens to see it? Or?
I believe the promoter.
Yeah.
The promoter will call people to stop it.
Okay, and we're back to the studio.